If you want to know why nurses with the most impact have the least control, stay tuned to this podcast in this next live. Just stay tuned.
Hello, fellow nurse entrepreneurs. One of the things that I've always wanted to do was always wanted to help nurses work from anywhere, pretty much have that flexibility, pretty much have that freedom so that they could do whatever they wanted to do.
Joining VP Nursing was one of the best decisions that I could have ever made. If I was to have a regret, it would be that I didn't join sooner.
If they wanted to be with their children, if they wanted to be with their families, they can do exactly what they wanted to do.
Ola is the type of person, she's not going to let you stay the same. The way she levels up her clients in every area of their lives.
I could not have imagined being a nurse with my own business, being in this space with so many amazing people, with a coach that 1,000,000% cares about what my outcome is going to be.
And so here at VP Nursing, we teach nurses how to work from their computers anywhere around the world, making money, owning their own time, building profitable nurse coaching, consulting, and service-based businesses. And so now we're at the beach and we're working at the beach and we're having a great time. We're doing a brand photo shoot. It's an amazing time. So if you want to learn how to work from anywhere around the world, creating that flexibility, creating that freedom for yourself, but monetizing the knowledge that you already have, join us at VP Nursing Business Academy.
Hello, everyone. So I just wanted to come and talk to you today about the reason why you are a nurse or you're a nurse entrepreneur and you have a lot of impact, but you are still have loss of control, okay? Because whether you're in business or whether you're in healthcare or, still at the bedside or even not even just at the bedside, like you're in management or in corporate per se, then it makes a huge difference in how you see things, because your identity always shows up in these areas. So this is one of the people, like you're already in business. So why does it still feel heavy? Like you're delivering results and your clients trust you, right? You have impact, it's happening, but control still isn't where it should be. This is exactly why this conversation exists and why the conference is created. And so we do have the Millionaire Nurse CEO conference that's coming up. And so because of that, if you want to attend the conference, it's February 20th through the 21st, 2026. Go ahead and comment conference and we'll send you the information to the conference. You get CEUs, but that's not the only thing that you'll get. So we want to talk about all the other things that you'll get. So I want to talk about right now the reason why you feel like you have loss of control, because listen, I have been there where I felt like I have had loss of control. I felt like I did not really, I could not control the business. I didn't know like which way to go. Right. But I knew that I had impact. I knew that I had something to give. So if you're that nurse, say, that's me. I know that I have these things to give, but I don't really know exactly how to package it, what to do, how to work this out so that it works for the betterment or the good of the people that I'm trying to serve, right? So you're producing high level outcomes. Your work prevents problems. And so this is one of the things that I hear from nurses a lot of times is that I don't know what I can do. And so that's the first thing. Like you have to know exactly what problem you solve. That's number one, right? And so typically the way that you figure that out is that if you solve that problem for yourself in the past, then you can solve that problem for someone else. I tell people all the time, though, when it comes to coaching and consulting and service-based businesses, this is the thing about nurses, is that service-based businesses, there are a plethora of them. And what I mean by a plethora of them, let me just give you some examples. So there is ED consulting, for example. And going to an ED, especially for your travel nurses, like y'all have gold because you've been in certain EDs and then they have certain models and then you've been in other EDs and those models don't exist. And so you can go in there and consult and change the model of the ED and increase their efficiency. You can do consulting on the med-surg floor. That always needs some changing. You can do consulting for the C-suite, especially if you're in leadership, right? So there's so many things that you can do. There's so many areas in the hospital and where you can increase their efficiency. And when you increase their efficiency, then you increase their bottom line. And so at the end of the day, we all know this, that's what hospitals want. And so you really want to do that. So then outside of there, there's health, there's wealth, and then there's relationships. So when you're doing coaching, those are the three areas that will get you money. And the number three area outside of finance and tech that can make you a millionaire is healthcare. And so Dan Locke said that. So one of the things that you want to make sure that you're doing is figuring out the problems that you've already solved, whether you've solved them in business, at the bedside, whether you solved them at the C-suite, you solved them as a manager, you solved them in your own life, whatever that looks like, right? You want to make sure that you solve the problem, you understand the caveats or the holes in which you may come across, right? So you want to make sure that you are not dipping into those holes and you are helping your clients get to their results faster, right? Because it's all about results. At the end of the day, people talk about all the packages and all those things that included in the package, but the reality is that all they care about is the results. So that's what you want to do. Your expertise saves time, money, and stress, and your clients rely on your judgment. So most entrepreneurs were never taught how to turn their level of impact into leverage. This is one of the gaps that we address at the conference. And so again, if you want to understand how to do that, then we have the conference that's coming up. Now, you see where she has boss nurse on the on the wall, and she's just frustrated, right? That's just the frustrated look of the nurse. The quiet frustration of nurse business owners. So when you have inconsistent revenue, that's the one thing, right? So you want to make sure that you understand how your revenue is coming in. I remember, actually, I was talking to my niece last night, and she was talking about this lady who was giving out her expertise. She gave out her expertise to this lady, and then she never heard from her again, right? And I was like, well, why didn't she have a contract? Like, why didn't she have, a non-refundable deposit? Like these are things, like you get a non-refundable deposit for your hair. Like, come on now. This is your business. This is your expertise. Like, you have a fiduciary responsibility to your business in order for your business to run. You have got to have that. So your calendar is still full. You're still deeply involved in everything, right? So you want to make sure that you're able to, offload some of those things. I remember when I was deeply involved in everything and my calendar was full, and I was just missing meetings, and I don't typically miss meetings. And that's when I knew that I needed help. So I hired a virtual assistant. You can get them for fairly cheap in other countries, for $5 to $10. And so you want to hire somebody who can help you, but you also want to make sure that you make sure that you vet them before they come into your business, because that can be a disaster within itself. Okay. So this is the stage where most nurses are when they walk into the conference. Like, they're struggling, they have a hard time. And so systems is one of the ways in which, like, it literally changed my life. Like, I remember I was doing 3 different things, right? I was doing relationship coaching. I was doing financial coaching. I was doing business coaching. Like, I was doing all these kinds of things, but it wasn't until I figured out the thing that I wanted to do. But this is the thing that a lot of people don't do. They're like, well, I don't know what I want to do. So then you stop, right? But the reality is that you just throw something up against the wall. You see whether that works. You see whether you have passion for that. And then you move, right? You move on that thing. So I knew that I had passion to help nurses. I just didn't know what area in which I wanted to help them in. And then once I understood that business was where it was, then it really changed the game for me. And I started to make money, and I started to love every minute of it. So you have to find that, but you can't find it if you don't move. And a lot of people, they stay scared, but they stay scared because they say that I'm scared. And see, the reality is that, am I fearful of some things at times? Absolutely. Right. But do I say that I'm a fearful person? Absolutely. That's not that even in my vocabulary. Like, that's not who I am. Right. And so you have to identify who you are, right? Are you the person that says that I'm scared all the time, or I'm fearful all the time? And a lot of nurses really, and it's because of the bullying, I think, that sometimes happens in nursing, that you sometimes feel that you're scared to do this particular thing. But this is the reality. The reality is that you can be scared all you want to, okay? You can keep staying where you are, but you're going to keep being burned out. You're going to keep staying in that same place time after time, year after year. And then, and I was talking, because we're in Ghana right now. I was talking last night and I was telling them that if you are 45 years old and you have lived an average life of 65 years old, which is the average lifespan here in Ghana, then you only have 7,300 days left to live. And those days don't feel expensive until you realize how few you have lived, and you're paying with dreams that you keep telling yourself later on, because later is a liar and next time is a thief. And so you have to realize that you can't keep doing this over and over and over again, because it's going to harm your dreams, right? The impact does not automatically create control, right? You can be fully booked and still capped, right? Because you're doing everything yourself, because you're delivering all the services yourself. Like, you have to be able to let go. And so some people think, well, it's not going to be the quality that I will deliver if I hire another coach. Well, it probably is not, but that has to be okay. And so then that's where you have to do some what's called quality control. And you do that within healthcare, like you did that all the time, right? So if something was done, you had a quality control to determine whether this thing was working or not. Like when you had, the CAUTI scores, for example, catheter-associated urinary tract infections, right? So you determine, well, depending on how many CAUTIs do I have, what is this working? Like you do. So in business, it's the same thing. What is the outcomes? Are your outcomes looking good, or your outcomes not looking good? If your outcomes are not looking good, then you have to do a quality control in order to understand that. And then you have to either educate your coach, your whoever that is, or you just have to find another coach, right? These are the things that you're going to have to do. And it's at the base roots. It's okay, right? You can be visible and still exhausted, right? You can be respected and still underpaid. And that's what a lot of people do. They're underpaid, and it's because they look. And there was a young lady at the conference last night. It was interesting because she was from Accra. I think it's the way you pronounce it. Listen, I've been messed the name up. So anyway, so she's from Accra. And one of the things that she said was that, because of where she is, she came here from the United States. And because of where she is, she feels like she does not have the ability to charge what she needs to charge. It has nothing to do with where you are. It has to do with the fact that you deliver a certain amount of expertise. And while they can't pay you, your worth, you are worth more than money can buy at the end of the day. So this conference that we have, again, is designed to close that gap. Now, this is where the control is still missing. Some people miss pricing confidence, right? They don't feel like that they can price above. Like, you tell them price, and then if they can't afford it, then they can't afford it, right? Like people, at the end of the day, your price is relative to how quote unquote expensive it is, right? Because people will say, well, that's expensive. But the reality is that this set of people will say this is expensive. And this sort of set of people will say that it's the right price for me to get whatever I need. That set of people is the ones that you're supposed to be serving, right? You want to be able to serve them at the end of the day. You also want to have scalable offers, and you can't scale anything on your own. So you want to make sure that you have those offers that are able to scale without you. Decision-making power, right? And so that is huge. And of course, as the CEO of your company, you should have decision-making powers. Now, whether you do or not, that's you. But over here, we make decisions, and we make decisions fast. We're not going to stop the company because of, I may or may not be the bottleneck. Systems that work without you. You want to have systems that work without you. So people ask me all the time, well, what does that look like? What that looks like is that many times, like, I will have people who will come into the masterclass. So what that looks like is I'm delivering you content, right? And over that content, you either sign up for a masterclass, you sign up for the conference, you sign up for whatever. But however, you don't have a conversation with me. Like, I ain't got to talk to everybody one-on-one, right? Because there's a systematic way of generating your clients. And you want to have that systematic way of generating your clients. Now, what that looks like for business to business, like if you're going into emergency departments, or you're going into hospital, or you're going into, primary care practices, and you're helping them scale their businesses, business to business, what that looks like is that you're developing a list, and there's AI tools that help you to develop those lists. And so you want to have those AI tools in place. And that's one of the things that we talk about, at the conference. You see, these are CEO level skills, and they are major focus at inside of our conference. Okay. Now, I love, love, love this picture, because like she's standing in her living room and she is breaking the ceiling right in her house. Like, it is an invisible ceiling. This is an invisible ceiling in nurse-owned businesses, right? And so the invisible ceiling that is in nurse-owned businesses is selling time instead of outcomes. Now, a client that came to me one time and she was $150. She was selling her service for $150. And I was like, how much money are you making the people that you're selling it to? She said, she said, they're making millions. And that's what I knew, right? Like I've seen people come to the hospital for what she was selling it for. And I was like, well, if you're making the millions, then why are we charging $150? So I told her to 10x her prices. So she did. She said, well, I don't know whether they're going to pay that or not. And I was like, well, if they don't pay it, they don't get the information. And at the end of the day, you have to be ready to do that, right? You have to be intentional about that. Customizing instead of standardizing it. This is something that I did at the beginning of this business. It was so awful. Let me explain this, okay? Because I was customizing for each person. Like if they came to me and they had problems with their, relationships, if they had problems with their finances, like I was customizing everything for each person. You cannot customize for everyone. And that's the reason why you need to solve one real problem. That's the reason why you need to do that. So once I figured that out, that I needed to solve that one real problem, then I was able to standardize what that looks like, right? Standardize and create courses dependent on what that one real problem was, right? Saying yes too often. Now, I say this all the time. What I'm not about to do is say yes all the time to everybody. It's not going to happen, right? And the reason why it's not going to happen is because you are limited capacity, right? And so you want to make sure that you're not saying yes to every single solitary person and operating instead of designing. You need to design. That you are the creative, right? And as the creative, you need to be creating courses, right? And so you need to have somebody else operating the business, right? And so that's one of the things that I was very, very clear on when I first started was that I need to operate. I need to design. And so I needed someone else to operate. And that's the reason why one of the first high level positions that we hired was a chief operating officer. Because I knew that I couldn't continue to operate. I couldn't continue to manage teams. I couldn't continue to do that. In order for me to be able to design, I needed to move into the CEO position more by designing. Now, if this sounds familiar, you're exactly who this conference is for. All right. So drop conference in the chat. Now, the reason why high impact nurses get stuck here, this is the thing about nurses. So whenever people come into the hospital, and this is just true, it is what it is. People come into the hospital, like we don't ask them for a payment ahead of time, right? And this is so true. It's so good because what happens is when they come into the hospital, like they're sick, right? And you don't ask for payment up front, right? Because you feel like, oh my God, they're going to die if we don't. Well, these people's business is going to die if you don't help them. However, you've got to, again, you have a fiduciary responsibility to your business. And so because of the way that the model of the hospital, and you never have to worry about payment, you never have to worry about insurance, you never have to worry about those things. That is the reason why there's this serious struggle when it comes to payment. I had this actually, she was a physician. She's actually in my mastermind. And one of the things that she said, well, I've helped other people. She's helped hundreds of women lose weight. And she said, but when it comes to actually saying or charging, then I struggle with that because she's worked for systems like she hadn't worked for herself before. So that's one of the things, like you have to transition that mindset. Because in order for you to grow, you have to be able to do that. Fix fast, right? You want to fix whatever you need to do fast. This is you're trained to fix everything fast. And listen, in the emergency department, that's what we're trained to do. We're trained to do that. You're trained to carry the load, not build leverage, right? This conference helps you to unlearn what keeps your business small. Because it's important for you to be able to not continue to keep your business small. So we're going to go to a commercial, okay? Then we're going to come right back.
Stop renewing your license just to stay broke. Every renewal season, nurses pay fees, take classes, and check boxes, but never build wealth. That license you're renewing every 2 years, it's a gold mine if you stop using it the old way. At the Millionaire Nurse CEO Conference, you'll learn how to leverage that same license to build your own business, to coach, to consult, and to create offers that bring freedom, not fatigue. And yes, you'll still earn CEUs. Comment conference below and we'll send you the details.
Sweet, sweet, sweet. Okay, so let me go back to Sharon so that we can, we're going to get through the rest of the content. So now the shift is the control comes from the CEO level design. So offers built around outcomes, right? So your offer you want your offer to be built around your outcome. And there's obviously 3 areas of your business where you have to move your business, right? So the 3 areas is operations. So operations is one of the things that nurses are extremely, extremely good at. And that's one of the things that I held on to for a very, very long time. And so I caution you to not to hold on to that, right? Because at the end of the day, marketing and sales is where you need to be as the CEO to really, really be able to have a business that actually grows and scales, right? Pricing tied to the value, all right? That's huge, huge, huge. Now, systems that replace manual effort. That is one of the things that really, really scaled my business. Like once I put systems into place, like literally we doubled our income. We doubled it in that first year because the systems were in place. And I tell my my staff all the time, I say, if it can be automated, it needs to be automated. Like we don't need, because this is the reality, is that anytime you have anything that's manual, there's going to be mistakes. You might as well just accept it. You might as well be okay with it. You're going to have mistakes with anything that's manual. So I am huge on automating everything that can be automated so that you're not always in the weeds, right? Clear authority positioning. You have to let people know who you are, right? Whatever your positioning is, like tell your story, right? So like we went from serving, customizing everything, barely making any money, to multiple 6 figures in the company, right? And so this is where we went. And the reason why, this is where the authority lies, right? That's where the authority lies. So we made over $1 million in the business. And the reality is that you want to make sure that you are telling the stories about where you've been, what you have done, and how that shift is happening. This is one of the things that we walked through in the conference. Now, overthinking versus CEO thinking. Now, the owner does everything. Owner reacts, okay? Don't react to anything. Very rarely. Other than blocking someone who has a limited mindset. Like I can't, like we can't be in the same space. And not that I don't love you. I will teach you, right? But if you come into my comments, I will block you, right? So the owner is capped, right? Because you're doing everything. Now CEO designs everything. You lead and you build assets for your business. So initially in the business, one of the things that we did not have, so we met on every Thursday night initially in the business, and we only had like that one night that we met. Now we have several times in which we meet, and it's not necessarily for it's not whenever we meet during these times, there are different things that we offer. Like we offer Facebook ads coaching, we offer the mindset shift coaching. Like there's other things that we offer during this time. We build those assets, but that's an asset of the business, but not just that. Okay. There's also pathways, right? That we have created, that I have created really. So the pathway of being a nurse, of opening up your own nurse practitioner practice, right? A pathway of opening up your own home healthcare agency, the pathway of coaching and consulting, right? So this different pathway. So that's a design of everything, of some of the things that we have within the program. And there's other things as well, right? Because you want to make sure that you're having these assets in your business. And that's where the CEO thinking becomes real. Now, what scalable nurse CEOs do differently, they stop explaining. I rarely explain. I explain to my team, obviously, because I have to be, I have to explain to them things that we do, right? But I stop explaining to people who don't really understand or, the value of it, right? They standardize the brilliance, right? And so that standardization, when you create the pathways, right? So to make sure that people get what they need, you want to make sure that people are getting what they need. At the end of the day, it's not just a fiduciary responsibility to your business. You also have to make sure that you're creating the impact, right? You also want to make sure that they are getting what they need. They build once in the scale, and they lead instead of chase, right? So that's huge. Why most nurse business stall, they have too many offers. We have 2 offers. That's it. No clear authority line. And I'm gonna tell you that too many offers is one thing that I started out with, like way too many offers. And then I didn't know how to do it. Even at 3 offers, I didn't even want that, right? So we have 2 offers, 2 big offers, I should say, 2 high ticket offers. And we have several other offers, like, we have the book, right? The Audacity of Execution. We have the Oriented Revenue book. We have bundles. We have the conference, right? So there are other offers that we have, but they are one-off offers, right? They're not offers that we offer as the standardized products in the business. You want to have 1 to 3 products within your business that are high ticket, that can ensure that you're getting paid, but at the same time, you want to make sure that it's creating the impact that it needs to make. Number 2, no clear authority line. You're all over the place. Like I can help you to make a dress. I can help you with your finances. I can help you with your taxes. I can help you with your credit score. Like, no, like, what do you do? What is the one thing that you do, right? So we help nurses build business, whatever that business looked like. And so that's one of the things that you want to make sure that you're doing. No systems for visibility, sales, or delivery. Like, you have to have the system for it. That is a non-negotiable. At the end of the day, you want to make sure that you have a systematic way of generating clients, a systematic way of then getting back to you, right? This is why so many nurses come to the conference already in business, but really they need the next level. Now, this conference is not about starting. And some people who come, you listen, if you're starting, that's great. Okay, we're okay with that. It's about scaling, control, leverage, building a business that no longer depends on you. This room is designed for nurses who are done playing small. And we can help you when you start. I want to make sure that we're clear on that. However, for the most part, we're going to help you move forward. The decision in front of you is keep running the business that runs you. Okay? Or step into a room that teaches you how to run it like a CEO. Those are the 2 caveats. Those are the 2 things, right? And so you want to make sure that you are doing that. That room is this conference. So if you want to come to the conference, and this is a cute picture of all the nurses that may be at the conference. It's a really cute picture, right? So why is this room changes to everything? You leave with clarity. That's a huge, huge thing. You leave with structure. Structure is huge. Like, you have to make sure that you have structure. What if you came in the hospital and then, you had all this lack of structure? Like, I came in and I'm having a heart attack, but, the EKG machine, because we only have, one structure where the structure is that our EKG machines stay in house. Then it takes 20 minutes for the EKG to get down to us. And then you may be performing an EKG on anybody else because you don't have the structure in order to be able to do that, right? You don't have the infrastructure in order to be able to do that. That's huge, right? Because again, you want to make sure that your clients are moving the needle. You leave with CEO level strategy. You leave knowing exactly what to fix next. That's what the power of being in the right room means. You already have impact. The real question is whether you're ready to control to match it. Okay. So I want to ensure that, you have exactly what you need for this particular room in order to make the shift happen. Now, I look forward to seeing you at the conference. Again, drop conference in the chat if you want us to send you over information about the conference, because it's going to be amazing. I cannot wait to see you. All right. Y'all have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.